Watch your spine gently out in the mirror. See her fade, walk away when you see through her. Gently with a brisk, take a sudden down the lane. Memories are walkers, your beats are all the talkers, they're sane. Gloomy-eyed, rest your spine in the mirror. See her fade, walk away when you see through her. Gently with a brisk, take a sudden down the lane.
Welcome to our new house. I was just sitting in the sofa watching some podcasts that I will talk about later, and I thought to myself, wow, this house is really open, a lot of open spaces. It will be hard recording podcasts here because my family will be around making noise, and I won't be alone like I am now. And then I realized, well, I'm alone right now. I should probably record. Freya is here, but she's just woke up, playing very quietly. If I know her correctly, she will soon start to cry. Every time I try to do something that I really need to do, like eat, or okay, I don't really need to record a podcast, but I like to. It's like she can know when I take my first bite. Then she starts to cry or want attention, but I don't mind, mostly. Anyway, I thought I'd talk about, first of all, yarn acquisitions. I went to this lovely place. My grandfather lives in Gränna. It's in between where I live now and Stockholm, where I used to live, maybe. It's actually the town where the candy cane was invented. By a Swedish woman. I think her name is Amelia Eriksson. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's a really cute town, lots of candy cane shops, of course, with a lot of candy. I showed sometimes, I think, on my stories on Instagram when we were there with the kids. And yeah, it's a super cute town where I've been a lot growing up. I think I talked about it in previous podcasts, but I've moved a lot. I think this might be my 30th time in 25 years. Now Freya is waking up. Do you want to join me? So, like I said, we're living in this new place, and it was economically available to us just because it wasn't in a really fancy place, but it's really close to It's so weird what we pay for and what money do, but I'm really grateful, and I can't believe that we live here. I like to tell everybody that they should come visit because it's so nice, and we're gonna have a big housewarming party in the beginning of August. So that's what's new with us. Also, I'm taking my driver's license right now because I really need to be able to drive. And I passed the theory test, but now I have to book the actual driving test. And that's really hard because a lot of people want their driver's license during the summer here in Sweden. Am I right? Am I right? And I'm going back to work in the middle of August. I'm gonna work part-time, and Freya's dad is gonna stay at home. Yeah, not sure how I feel about that. But we wanted to divide our parental leave equally. Why? Yeah, we want to be gender equal. Or do we? I don't know. Yeah, we do. I just wish I could have stayed home longer, but I really found a good job, and I'm just gonna work 4 days a week. and then I'm gonna be home with this one. And he's gonna be home all the time. So, I was talking about earlier Gränna, where my grandfather lives. The biggest city next to Gränna is Jönköping. And my mom said a couple of months ago, like, that she found a really great yarn shop, a big one that I should check out. And every time we've gone there, like to my grandfather, it's been closed. And I never dared to hope that I would actually make it there. But now, when we were driving down here, when we were moving, or my mom was driving me and Freya and her dad, Freya's dad, and my bonus kid, they were in the moving car. We actually stayed. And this place was big and crowded with yarn. And so many different types and things I've never seen before. And yeah, that was amazing. Mm.
Hej! Hej älskling! Är det du mamma? Har du tid med mig? Ja, garnerna. Du, vart är du på väg? Vart är du på väg?
So I thought I'd show you some things that we bought. Yeah, you were there with Grandma. Do you remember? Do you remember? Got some yarn for your hat. Yes, I did. Do you remember? Yeah. Anyway, one of the skeins that I got, or balls of yarn, was this onion knit dyed mohair 4 yarns. So this is, I don't know if you can see it very well. I'm gonna insert a picture later. It's got 4 types of yarn in it. It's very fussy. And I think this is like a cool effect yarn. When you go to a big place like that, I just tend to go for things that I wouldn't find online. So that's what I found. And then I found this big chunk of yarn. It's Hjärtegarn. It's called Milano. It's 80% wool, 20% alpaca. And you need needles 10 and 12 millimeters. And I think I will try to weave something with this or knit something for our wall here at the sofa in the living room. I think that would be cool. You need to make yourself some art when you can. I got a tiny skein, or a ball, I'm sorry, it's a ball, for you. Yeah, what are you gonna knit with it? You're welcome. It's hemp, cotton, and modal. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. No, you're not yet. Not for eating. It's for wearing. You can knit something, or you can ask me to knit something for you. So I was looking for some, like, you know, summer yarn, and I thought that was a cool blend. 34% hemp, 41% cotton and 25% modal. Cotton isn't very sustainable, but hemp and modal really is. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna make you. What do you think? I really see that you like it. Yes. What should I make you? Dress? We'll see about that. If anybody has any... Oh, really? Burping? You can't burp on the podcast. Okay, you get away with it because you're cute. And then we got some linen, 100% linen yarn from the Baltimore company. I promise it's one of the last. I'm trying hard to quit. And I don't know what we're gonna make with this. I really like to make, what's it called, dishwashing cloths maybe, in linen. I think it's nice. It's not very good. I've also made some, you know, for scrubbing in the shower, but linen tends to get softer, so it loses its exfoliating abilities. This is something weird, but nice. This is Scheschenmeyer, and it's called, I think it's called Esperanza Fashion. That doesn't sound cool at all. But, and this, I don't know if you can see it, is cotton with hints of gold in it. Not sure what I'm gonna do with it. Maybe a bag, like for shopping, like a net bag. That would be cool. We like gold, and we like beige, and we like white. Have you noticed? And then we got this one. It's also an onion. It's called Baroque 6 yarns. Yeah, it's from Denmark. And it's really shiny. I think this would be cool in a shawl. Maybe for my mom. She's the more white and shiny and glittering. Yeah, you liked it too. Didn't you? Yeah, that's exciting. And this was interesting. This is Scheschenmeyer, and it's called Ecologico. It's 100% naturally pure wool. It's a kind of grayish, gray beige. It's 100% untreated wool, but it's pretty soft. I think this would make, I got 4 balls of this. I think it would make a great sock yarn, like big sock. I like big chunky socks in wintertime. I'm not really comfortable with the thin socks. I like them big and chunky. And this is not for knitting. This yarn is called Hooked. It's, let's see, 80% recycled cotton. So from clothes that somebody else wore but didn't want anymore, or maybe it was broken in some way. Yeah. And 20% other recycled fibers. We don't know what that is, but I don't think I'm gonna do something for wearing with this one. I think I'm gonna crochet like a mat. No, sorry, carpet. Mat is Swedish. A carpet, or maybe a little basket. I'm not sure. I'm a pretty messy person. When I was pregnant, I got this cleaning craze. I was cleaning and organizing, and our house had never looked better. And then you arrived. And I still want to clean, I still want everything to look nice, but, you know, you don't have the time. So now I'm trying out, I'm actually attending an online course on Udemy with the KonMari method. I've seen it before. Basically, it says, keep only the things that sparks joy. And it talks a lot about storing things in their right places, like having a place for everything. Like no clutter, no stuff that you don't know where to put. Like everything in your house has a home. And you might have seen it online because it also involves folding your clothes and fabrics making them stand upright. So when you pull out a drawer, you can see everything. You don't have to lift it and pull something out and mess up the pile, but everything is folded like this. So you can easily see what's there. And I just started, like when we were moving, I was considering this when I was cleaning out. And now when we're unpacking, I'm trying to put everything like vertically instead of horizontally. And it's going all right. I'm trying to become more organized. I think your daddy wants me to be more organized too. Yeah, he's kind of pissed off that I always forget my bills. Yeah, but I didn't when I was pregnant. You know, I actually got my bills, opened them, and paid them at the same time. Crazy. Yeah, mommy was crazy when she was pregnant with you. Or maybe she's crazy all the time except when she was pregnant with you. Never mind. Next up, I'm gonna show you some things that I've knitted. I finished my fluffy cardigan. A perfect, like big, cocoony, soft and squishy cardigan. I put some stripes on it in different variations. It turns out it's kind of shorter in the back. It's a bit wonky, but I like that it has some flow, some kind of free form. I don't even know how much ease it is, positive ease. So beige and white, that's my melody. So this is what I have finished. But what's on my needles right now? For starters, I'm knitting Freya a boob hat. So it's a little hat, and on the top it's a nipple. So when you're breastfeeding like this, it looks like a boob. I think it's so funny, and I'm all for breastfeeding in public, of course. Or not all for it. I thought I was, and I thought it was, in Sweden there has been a debate whether mothers should breastfeed their children in public. Like, that's what boobs are for. They are literally there to give babies milk, if you want to have babies, that is. But that's what they're made for. And that it's even a debate whether you should... that's patriarchy for you. Like, they're not there to please the male eye. They are there to feed children. And if that's arousing to you, you're the one with the problem, not the mother feeding her child. But when I started to breastfeed in public, I actually realized a lot of creeps comes up to you. So I'm not really comfortable doing it everywhere. Freya's having a conversation with her toys. Because a lot of creepy men is actually walking by really close, pretending to look at something really close by. And it freaks me out. And that's not good. Like, let boobs be boobs and let them be food. Boob food. So, I love this hat. It's not finished yet. It's in a Järbogan, and it's got certified, I think, and it's Demeter. It's a really good company that I like, and it's certified for them. And it's an organic cotton. And the pink for the nipple, and the light beige for the boob. I guess it should be all pink if you're trying to mimic mine, but anyway. And I'm also on the trend on knitting a Nordisk sommertopp. I don't know, is it Danish or Norwegian? So similar. Anyway, it's a linen top, 100% linen. Yarn is called Line from Sundance Garn. Yeah. So you hold the threads double and you have a 8mm needle. But I have 7 because I knit really loose. Yeah, I'm doing some modifications to it. I'll show more of those when it's finished, but I'm knitting away on that right now and it's really fast. I have never blocked linen before in a garment, just dishwashing cloths. So that will be interesting, like how much it will stretch, how much it will bounce back. I don't know. So that's going to be interesting. I think the yarn will be enough so I can do the matching top for Freya that I talked about in the last episode. So yeah, that's what's on my needles right now. And when my bonus kid Wilma gets here in a couple of weeks, I will start her Icelandic sweater Lopapeysa, because I need to measure her first before I start. I thought I'd talk about Blast from the Past. This is my Nuvem shawl. I have used this so much. Like, it's so good. Freya has used it a lot, not like this, but she has had it like a blanket, or yeah, I've wrapped her in this a lot of times. I like knitting on it. I think it was in the beginning of my pregnancy and I was not too nauseous to knit yet. If you don't know about my pregnancy, I puked a lot, up to 5 times every day for 5 months. But the result was good. In the knit, but also the baby. Good result. Anyway, it's got ruffles on the edges, and that was horrible. I think you start with 200 stitches, and at the end, I think you like increase with too many. It was so many stitches at the end, but I really like it. My mom also likes it a lot. I wanted to knit her one of these for her birthday, but it takes so much time. Maybe another birthday. I wanted to do it in white for her, but it's so good. You can use it in so many ways. I really like it. It's my go-to shawl when I go somewhere. And Nuvem means cloud. I thought about talking about some podcasts that I enjoy. I'm pretty picky about podcasts. I think that's why I'm making one myself. Not sure what that says about me. But I know there are so many great podcasts out there, but I need to watch a podcast that where the person that does the podcast makes things that I like. It has to be the right color, and yeah, that kind of narrows it down. As you probably guessed, I like the natural fibers and natural colors. And right now it's a big, I think it's a neon craze right now with a lot of bright colors, and that's just not my cup of tea. So I have a few that I follow, but I like watch them as soon as they get out. And they're of course the inspiration of this podcast. So I think the first podcast that I started to watch was the California podcast, of course. I started following Dennis on Twitter, like in 2014 when I was a politician. I was an environmental activist and politician at the time. And he was twittering a lot with a colleague and friend of mine. And yeah, I started following him. And he was always talking about his wife, Queen of California. So after a while I was like, I have to check this lady out. She seems great. And I started reading her blog. And she was knitting a lot and talking about love and life in general. And I was crocheting a lot at the time, but I think that's one of the things that really sparked my knitting or interest in actually starting to knit. You know, I've known how to knit since I was 7. I went to a Steiner school, Waldorf school, and I'm a Waldorf teacher. Well, that was later. I became a teacher later. And I've known how to knit, but you know, just stockinette and garter stitch. I think I made some mittens maybe, or I tried it. But so I watched the California podcast first. And it was really fun. I think it was while I was watching it. I was walking home from my job in Järna on the Steiner school there, Waldorf school. And I see Pia and Dennis walking into the cafe. And it's so weird when you follow somebody online because you feel like you know them, but they don't know you. So I was like, I can't go up to them. That's so stalker. But then I was like, no, they put up so much stuff about their life and, you know, there's such a great inspiration. I have to tell them. So I went to a little shop and bought a mini skein and a card, and I just went up to them and hello, and they were like, hello, and I think I said something about I just want to thank you for the inspiration and stuff. And also a funny thing, like I think it was after that or right before that, I was working at a school and I was sitting on a recess break and knitting and watching their podcast, and like behind me I hear my colleagues talking and saying, yeah, Ella and Arvid, they have moved to Gotland now. And I was sitting there knitting like that's funny because their kids are called Ella and Arvid, and they just moved to Gotland. Wait a minute, Sweden is not a big country. So I turn around, do you mean like, is that the Cannonborn's kids? And they were like, yeah, do you know them? I was like, yeah, I'm watching them right now. So, of course, the California podcast is here on YouTube. I think they're on their 2nd year now. So you have a lot of things to catch up on. This is like the podcast that I show people that are not knitting to get into knitting, or new knitters, because it's just so cozy and it's one of the best produced, I think. Yeah, it's a high quality podcast. And then I started watching Eva. It's really hard to say in English for me because Eva is a really Swedish name. But I started to watch the Charm of It podcast. Eva makes the most beautiful things. And I love her choice of colors. It's always something in my taste, and I think she's somewhat historically inspired, can I say that? And a lot of beautiful things with nice details, and they're beautiful. They're not like things that she knit, I would say they're beautiful. She has 2 cute co-hosts, Moth and Thistle, that's her cat and dog. She also has a little snake. Pretty scared of snake, but this one is kind of cute. I think it's called Nutmeg. Not sure. And yeah, she's a really nice lady, and she also has really great political views, I would say. Like, she's really aware of things that are not right. She can criticize ideals, and that's really nice, I think, as a feminist and anti-racist and whatever. You can watch this podcast without cringing. You can just relax and look at the pretty things and not think about like, oh no, I hope she doesn't say anything bad, because she doesn't. In my political opinion, of course, I'm talking about what I like. And if you are watching this podcast, maybe you would like something that I would like. So after Eva and the charm of it, I started to watch Nicole, I think she's called Dupois, maybe? Anyway, The Gentle Knitter here on YouTube. That's such a great name. She's a really gentle, beautiful lady that knits with very much natural colors, mostly blue and gray, I would say her colors are, but she's really nice, and I like the setting of her podcast and her way of talking. She's really calm and she makes beautiful things. She talks about herbs a lot, and yeah, those doesn't come out as often, but when they do, I'm excited. So she's a really gentle soul and also makes beautiful things, and I would say that podcast is really soothing. It's like, I would say, cup of chamomile tea. That's what feeling I get from our podcast. So those 3 are the main ones that I watch. I also watch a Swedish one. I don't think they have subtitles. Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys. It's called Stickerian. And 2 Swedish girls or ladies have that podcast, and that's really funny. I've actually met one of them in real life. We hung out. I saw Sarah's Blackbird Knits on Instagram. I saw her, what's that shawl name? You know, that was really, Find Your Fade. Yes, Find Your Fade shawl. I saw her Find Your Fade shawl, and my jaw dropped. Like I said, I'm really particular. I don't like a lot of things. I like a certain type of colors, but my jaw dropped, and that doesn't happen often. So I wrote her that on Instagram. Like, when I saw that, my jaw dropped. That was so beautiful. And also, I love her choices of patterns and colors. And her co-host, or not her co-host, they're both co-hosts, they're doing this together. She has the other side. She has more bright colors, and I like to see them, the stuff. They're really beautiful, but they're not something I would wear, but a lot of my friends would wear it. So I think this podcast is really great because they speak to 2 different kinds of knitters, like the ones that like color and the ones that like more natural colors or muted colors or whatever. And they have 2 different personalities that are so fun to watch. It's so fun to watch them talk. And yeah, you can recognize yourself in both of them. Like one of them is never, what's it called? Weaving her ends, and you know, I can relate to that. I have many shawls that don't have their ends woven in, and the other one is really loose. I mean, there's something in there for everyone, I think. It's in Swedish, like I said, Stickerian podcast here on YouTube. It's fairly new. They started a couple of months before me, and yeah. So that's the ones that I really do watch. I have some that I watch sometimes. No, sorry, I forgot. Fruity knitting. Oh my god, you guys. As soon as I get my new job and get bigger salary, I'm gonna be a patron of Fruity Knitting, because oh my god, it's like a TV show. It's not even a podcast. It's like with so much content and so much information. It's a couple, Andrew and Andrea, that does it, and Andrew is a very experienced knitter and Andrew is a new knitter, and they have their daughter Madeline that's something in between, and you know, you get so much information. And I was watching that podcast at the end of my pregnancy, I think, and in the beginning of Freja's life. So a lot of times when I couldn't sleep and when I was up late with the baby, I think I watched every episode of Fruit Knitting, and I think they're up to 60 now, and they're like an hour long, I think. And you know, I've never learned so much about knitting like I did when I watched Fruit Knitting. So become a patron, you guys, to support them, because it's her full-time job. And I'm gonna do that too as soon as I get more money, because they're great. I'm a patron of Camebornias, and I'm also a patron of Caroline Henkelius, Höna and Eir. I talked about those yarns in a couple of episodes, and I watch her podcast sometimes when I have time. It's harder to find the podcast because it's only available to her patrons. So I have to go into Patreon, and then it's harder to connect it to the TV. But I like that too. She has some great visuals and lovely yarn that she makes. And yeah, that's a very visual podcast with a lot of footage on beautiful things and nice music. And the ones that I watch sometimes are Skandir Knits. Eli, she's Norwegian, knitting in London. And I also sometimes watch the Danish girl Lerke, I think her name is. I think it's called Fiber Tales podcast. So those two I watch sometimes. I just haven't had time to get into it yet, and they make really nice things, but not 100% my color scheme. But I do watch them. I can't think of any else right now. There are some that I maybe watch sometimes. But, you know, if you like my podcast and you watch another podcast that you think I would like, please tell me. Please comment below, because I'm always looking for more podcasts. And I get a lot of good tips, and I'm sure they are funny people, but I need to be inspired both color-wise and what they knit. Mostly color-wise. So natural colors, muted colors, stuff like that. I don't like bright colors, and I don't like neon. I think it's so great that people use it. Color is so great for your mind, but I need it. I'm a HSP, I'm a hypersensitive person. I need it to be, you know, soft colors and soft yarns. So if you know any podcasts like that, please let me know. So today's sustainable tip is a recipe tip of the perfect chocolate cake in the world. It's a chocolate mud cake. In Sweden, mud cake is called kladdkaka, and it's a popular dessert here in Sweden. I love chocolate, and I have never ever in my life tried something that tastes as much chocolate as this one. It is vegan, it's refined sugar-free, it's gluten-free, and it is healthy. One of the key ingredients are black beans. Sounds weird, but you have to try this. The photo and the recipe you can find on earthsprout.com. So in every episode I tell a story from my kind of weird life. And I let my Instagram followers say which story I should tell. And the one that got the most votes for today was Snowstorm Summer Tires broke. So I'm gonna tell the story about when me and Freja's dad, it was our first holiday together, and this is when we went to Norway. It was the autumn break in Sweden, so we had a week off, and I've always wanted to visit Norway more. I've been there once or twice, but not really seeing everything, and I wanted to buy yarn. In Norway they have an amazing knitting culture. So we went, and the first place we stopped was Oslo, and a place outside Oslo, and we rented a room from this little old lady, and she said, where you are going, there will be snow. And we were like, I think it was in October, it's not common for snow in Sweden then, so we were like, oh. She was like, you do have the winter tires, right? We were like, no, you don't need to have that in October in Sweden. She's like, well, in Norway, you do. Since Norway and Sweden is so close together, you don't really think that there will be a difference. But yeah, we just had summer tires, and we did not have enough money to buy new tires. And yeah, so we just like crossed our fingers and hoped for no snow. And we had a beautiful trip, and we went to a museum where I met some old ladies knitting, and we spoke about knitting, and I could watch like these amazing gloves that women from many years ago had knitted, and yeah, that was nice. And I bought a lot of yarn, and we rented this beautiful little cottage, and it was so nice, by a lake, by the mountains, and yeah, I knitted and had some wine in there. And then we were going home, and everything is fine, and we go through a tunnel, and when we get on the other side, there's a snowstorm, and we have summer tires still. And you know, we can't drive, we just go very slow, and then there are some workers by the road, and they walk up to us because they can walk faster than the car is moving. So Freya's dad like rolls down the window and it's like, hello, and they were like, you know, there's a snowstorm. Yeah, we noticed. And you just have summer tires. Yeah, you need to fix that. We were like, yeah, we know. But, you know, we were in the middle of nowhere. So we had to drive really slowly to a village. I think it was supposed to be 10 minutes away, but I think it took us 1 hour. And this were by the mountains, so we were going on a mountain road on the side of the mountain. And there was a big steep on my side and a little rail or fence, whatever you call it. And, you know, in slow motion, so very slow, the car just starts sliding towards the edge of the mountain and this rail on my side. And it's so weird because I have no control. I couldn't drive then. I can now. I just took my driver's license. Yay! Anyway, I couldn't drive then, so it was just like being in a weird video game where you couldn't control anything and you just saw your death happening very slowly. But that little fence or rail actually kept the car on the road, and I didn't fall off, obviously. And we continued, and then we got some snow chains to put on the tires, and he was out there putting them on for I think 2 hours in a blizzard and snowstorm. And oh my god, his fingers when it got in there were so cold. I wish I could have done it, but I had no idea what to do. And we continued driving, but still really slow. And you know, instead of taking like 5 hours, I think it took a double of 10 hours. So in the middle of the night, we passed Oslo, and then we're going to cross the border, and we take a quick break. And when we're supposed to start again, we realize that the brakes in the car has broken down. The brakes doesn't work, and there's a lot of snow. But we're just on the border towards Sweden, so I said, let's just carefully roll into Sweden so we can call for help there, because it's harder in Norway since we're not insured there and so on. So we roll into Sweden, and he calls our assistance insurance, and there's no cars in Sweden that we can rent at all. like people didn't expect snow at this time, and all the cars are rented. So they just say, take in to a hotel, we will pay you later. And we're like, okay, but we can't get to the hotel. So we call the man who works with towing the cars, or, you know, I don't remember what it's called in English. And he sounds a bit drunk when we call him. And he's like, no, I don't need to come and get you. You can just go to the hotel. We're like, but that's like a kilometer away and we don't have any brakes. He's like, well, go slowly then. We're like, okay. So we did that, and we go to this hotel, and it was such a surreal experience. Like, we roll there, and we have to stop the car in some way. I don't really remember how we stopped the car, but we did. And I hadn't seen it. My mom loves Monty Python, but I hadn't seen a lot of Fawlty Towers. But this house was like a replica. And I walk inside, and there is no one there. There are, you know, what do you call animals? In Sweden we say stuffed animals for the animals that have been through taxiderming, I think it's called. You know, there's animal heads on the wall. Not like those. Those are sweet, but, you know, real animals that have been shot. And there is the crappiest rock music there is on really big speakers. And there's a really fat drunk man and his son that looked a bit like that. And he had braces and a hat. And, you know, they just turn around and look at me because Marek, Freja's dad, was still in the car. And it looks like they've never seen a woman before. I know they had, but they just looked at me like, an alien just walked through that door. What does she do here? And what's she doing here? And, you know, it was so weird. And then the receptionist comes over, but he's also the owner of the hotel, and he's so drunk. You know, he's in the bar, in the kitchen, in the reception, and he's the one that picked up the phone when we called. So he does like everything on his own, and he's kind of drunk. And he's like, yeah, take that room over there. And we go in there, and there's like a gift basket on the bed, and we're like, what? This is so weird. And then we decide to take a glass of wine in the bar. And, of course, the really drunk fat man and his looking son, I don't know, that was just a feeling we got. They come up to us, and you know, the fat man starts talking. And we sit there polite, drinking our wine, trying to listen. They go out for a smoke, but I think he loses his cigarettes, I don't know. And the boy wants his dad to go to bed. He's like 18, 19 something. And he's like apologizing for his dad, like, sorry, I'm trying to get him to go to bed. And his dad is like, no, I'm gonna drink some more. And he's like, no, please, dad, go to bed. And finally he gets his dad to go to bed. And we're like, okay, nice, now we can like relax. But then he comes back. And he's like, I'm so sorry for my dad. He always wants to talk when he's drunk. We're like, no, it's fine. He didn't talk that much. It's fine. Just take care, like. And then he starts telling his life story for us all night long, and he's so drunk. So that was weird, and we go to bed, and it turns out that they're having like this huge birthday party tomorrow, so the gift basket wasn't for us, and the whole hotel is empty just because there's a really big party tomorrow, and the whole hotel is rented. And in the morning, we call the tower, maybe you call it, the one that takes the car away. They're like, no, you need to go to this workshop where you fix the car and car mechanics. And it's a red day here in Sweden. It's a holiday. Everything is closed. We're like, but we need to get home. We have a cat. like waiting for us, and from Maddox's other daughters were with their mothers, and yeah. So, but the car guy that we called the day before, he picks up and he's like, well, you know, I know you need to go to another kind of workshop, but you can just come with me and I'll take your car, because I have a friend that's a car mechanic. And we're like, okay, we don't have a choice. So he comes, picks us in the car up, and we sit in the front, and we're just driving through nowhere in Sweden. Like, there's just woods and farms, and we have no idea where we are. It's just in the middle of nowhere. And then we drive past a stable where it says like Starlight 84, and it's like, yeah, you know about the horse there, over there, Starlight. We're like, yeah, no, not sure. Well, you know, she won a big race in 1984, so she's the famous one here in town. And it's so weird. And he brings us to this car mechanics in a place, and we just stand there outside, and they take the car in, and then you can see them like peeping out the windows at us, like looking at us standing out there. It's so surreal. And I go inside and I sit in their super dirty office where there's a dog, and I start knitting. It's one of the weirdest places I've been knitting, actually. But what to do, right? When I sit, I knit. And this lady comes in through the door, and they're like, hey, Bettan, that's maybe Bridget in English, if you would translate that name. Hey, Bridget, we need a part from the mechanic store that you work. Can you go there? It was a Sunday, it's closed. She was like, yeah, I'll go there. I'll pick it up. I'll bring it to you later. We were like, oh, okay, thank you. So she just went to her closed shop, got it for us, and then they fixed the car at once, and we could go home. That was super nice, but you guys, it was like so weird 24 hours. That trip was really nice and fine, but the last 24 hours were just ridiculously weird. But we got home safe and sound, and I got a lot of yarn. But I would really like to go back to Norway, and I would really like to go on like a knitting tour or something. So maybe I should arrange one. What do you think? I promise to bring a car, and if there will be any chance of snow, I promise I will have all-round tires or winter tires with me. Are we gonna say goodbye? Should we thank them for watching? Should we? Yeah. Thank you for watching, and thank you for the nice comments about appreciating the podcast again. It's really nice. It's a tiny podcast, but we like to talk to you. Yes, we do. Don't forget to join our Instagram family. That's where you can get in touch with us, and we will actually answer. I will answer. She won't. It's called Frejas Fiber. You have to answer them. Sometimes you answer them in pictures that mommy sends to you. Yeah. So that's where you can keep updated. And welcome to our new house. What do you think about the setting here? Is it good light? Is it comfortable to watch? That's something that also I think about when I watch podcasts. Like, is it comfortable for the eye to watch? Is this too messy? Please tell me. And yeah, see you next time.